What's up everyone, Shane here with ROA Off-Road. Today, I'm gonna be giving you a tour of this brand new 2027 XT19, the Off-Grid Extreme version. This is the perfect trailer for built by MDC campers and caravans. This is the perfect trailer for a couple and maybe a guest. This thing is loaded with tons of power, tons of solar. This is the Off-Grid Extreme, so it's gonna be able to get you out on your adventures and keep you out there and get you home safely too. So I'm gonna be walking around giving you a full tour. This is updated, brand new. I'm gonna point out some of the new things in the 2027 model, so let's get to it. Come inside this incredibly beautiful trailer. This is one of my favorite things. The design, the modern, the sleekness. It is that Australian European design, which is very different from what we see in the US. Absolutely gorgeous trailer. For you ladies out there, you're gonna walk into this and you're gonna just be blown away in how beautiful this trailer is. Like I said, this is a perfect couples trailer. You have your ensuite bathroom, full-size bathroom back here, shower, toilet, tons of cabinetry, tons of storage. You have a large lounge slash booth area where you can dine. This also does drop down and turn into a bed. If you want to see a full tour of this trailer, stay tuned. We're going to have the full tour coming soon. If you want to see one of these trailers in person, you can come to ROA Off-Road, one of our experience centers. We have stores in South Carolina, Arizona, Colorado, and in Utah, and we have units in stock. Brand new units. You can come put your hands on it, see it, touch it, feel it, and kind of experience the trailer at one of our showrooms. Coming down here, like I said, this is a huge booth. You can kind of get a feel for how many people you could comfortably sit here. Probably 4 adults comfortably. This table does have some ability to slide side to side, also this way. And then, like I said, it will drop down. In the full tour, I'll show you more of these features. Something new in the 2027 models is the power outlets. They've added a lot of outlets into this trailer, so you're never gonna be without a plug or something to either run your laptop or your devices. So come down over here, you can see we have an outlet right here. This is a standard outlet. This will work completely off-grid with your battery and your inverter system. And then of course you have plugs for cell phone chargers. You also have a 12-volt plug, so you can plug in a device into that. There's also another one at the other side of the bench area over here. So if you are a couple and say you're doing some traveling and you need a work remote, you'll be able to both have plugs for your computers, be able to work at the desk. Another thing that they've added is some more outlets in the bathroom area, which they didn't have on the previous model year. As you can see up here, you have your standard 120 volt, as well as your 12 volt plugs for devices. This trailer has an incredible amount of storage, tons and tons of storage throughout. Just want to point out a few things. You have all of these drawers. Everything is on a locking latch as well. And you can see these actually are pretty high. So you have a good depth in here. Sometimes hard to capture that in the camera, but you can really load these up with a lot of stuff. And they extend almost all the way out. And then everything locks in place, so this doesn't open up while you're driving down the road. The idea of, you know, if you were gonna go off-road and get this trailer jostled around and these drawers were open up, most trailers in America, the drawers just can slide open and things fall out. Definitely is not gonna be the case with this trailer. And you have additional drawers all the way down. And then this guy right here is one of my favorite. This is what I call your laundry hamper. You have a bunch of space to throw your laundry into there. And then over here, we have a nice storage compartment side right here. There's also a lip that holds stuff in, so while you're driving, you don't open this up and have stuff falling out on you. And then of course we have more up here, and everything is just so nicely finished. You can see how they finish the caulking on the inside of here. They keep it just nice and they cover up the screws. It's amazing when you get into trailers, sometimes those behind the cabinets is where you see they don't pay attention to. MDC pays attention to the details all the way through. When you open up cupboards, that's where you see people neglecting, and you don't see that with MDC. Even down here, things that I love to point out to people is how they just, everything is fitted nicely. They put these, they screw it up against the wall. They have these grommets, holds everything nice and tight, and you do have a good amount of storage. Obviously, you're gonna have your plumbing in there. Something that they've done in the newer models is they have been much more intentional about trying to make it, I shouldn't say 4 seasons, but extend your season, getting into colder climate. And that's where they've added some of these vents. And this is so heat can penetrate into this area and kind of give you more circulation and more temperature controlled, where you're going to get warm into here and these aren't going to get as cold or potentially freeze. So we've sold a lot of Australian trailers and products over the years, and these are the types of things that they don't realize. A lot of times they'll put like the shower plumbing on the exterior wall, and in Australia that's okay, but in the US you're going to have a potential freeze. So that's what they've done, is they've moved that plumbing inside instead of on the exterior. That is actually because of a lot of the feedback that we've given them here at ROA to make these trailers more designed for the US market. I love the touches. This is an actual porcelain bowl, black. I don't even know where you get a black porcelain bowl, but I love that they carry the theme throughout. Now let's go into the shower. Sometimes I leave the bathroom for last because it's like one of my favorite things about owning a camper is being able to shower after hiking all day long or out exploring in the mountains or whatever. If you're off-roading and you get dirty, you want to be able to shower and go in your bed at night and sleep nice and clean. I personally do. And you can see the shower. This is massive, big enough for 2 people if you wanted to. So let's check this out. The most important thing in a trailer is if you drop your bar of soap, can you bend over and pick it up? So here I am. Keep in mind, I'm about 6 feet tall and I have plenty of headroom. And if I were to drop soap, I could easily bend over and pick it up. Do you see that? That's pretty good, right? Now you have some nice adjustments over here for your soap bar. This thing comes up and down. So if you're tall or if you're short, you have the wand, it comes apart and everything's black. They carried with the theme. Another thing over here is this is to hang up stuff. So if you have swimsuit and you need to hang it up to let it dry, drip out onto the thing. Another thing that I want to point out is this is a molded fiberglass. We've dealt with manufacturers in the past where they don't do a full mold. So what they do is they'll put like a panel and then they'll just caulk it. Obviously, when you think about this, this is a moving house, right? And so things are going to be moving. A lot of times those caulk sills, they can break over time and then you get leaks into the back side of the shower, and it just becomes a massive nightmare for the owner, right? Warranty, and once it's out of sight of warranty, you just have to fix these things yourself. Plus it's maintenance, it's ongoing maintenance that you have to deal with for forever, for the life of the trailer. Love how they have this all as a molded piece of fiberglass. Coming back over to the toilet area, this is a cassette toilet, super easy to use. I really love the cassettes because it gives you flexibility to be able to go out and leave the camper somewhere and you can pull it out and go dump it. I'm always dumping those in pit toilets. Toilets, a lot of people have different opinions on what toilet is ideal or best for them. We can move things around, switch things around for people, but I personally think that if you were to buy one of these, I would stick with this, test it out, see how it goes, and then if you want to switch it out down the road, you do that. But cassette toilets are super easy. There's not a lot of things to fill on a cassette toilet as well. Very reliable, and they've been using these for years in Europe and Australia. Bunch of other things. It's a nice sliding door. I'll show you how that works. It goes that way and it locks in place. There are so many details about this trailer, and I'm going to save those for my 1 to 2 hour long tour. And I'm going to just try to kind of keep this moving. I just want to emphasize that MDC, they pay attention to the details. They really, really work hard to constantly improve their products. And we've seen that. We've been working with them going on 3 years now. It's crazy how time flies. But when we first started working with them, we're always wondering, like, is this manufacturer always going to improve? Are they going to listen to feedback? The founder and owner of MDC still works in the company on the day-to-day basis. And he goes out, camps with owners. He's camped with me, and he's always listening. And that feedback is going into a loop. into their engineering, and they're always making changes and making improvements from year to year. And to me, that's so important. Lots of manufacturers do make changes over time. Sometimes they're not for the best though. Sometimes they're to make it cheaper, faster, find ways to shave off costs, to increase their margin. Nothing wrong with doing some of those things. You're a business, you got to figure things out. But like, it's not okay. I don't think it's okay to make things cheaper, especially when you build a reputation of doing something good and making great products. You have to continually improve things. And we're seeing this in lots of industries where, you know, companies are getting really smart and figuring out how to become more efficient and make things cheaper, but that cost doesn't carry it on to the owners, right? They make it cheaper and they charge you the same amount of money. And in some cases, some of the manufacturers we've worked with over the years, they've actually increased the prices. They've made them cheaper and increased the prices. And then they tell you, oh, it's tariffs. And it's like, nah, oh, you're making things cheaper, it should get cheaper. We're not seeing that with MDC. They really are constantly improving the products and making them better. So coming in over here, this is your control panel where you can control everything in your trailer. You have water tank heaters, you have breakers, and this is where you turn on, you know, whether it's your fridge, your furnace, your water gauges, and then also you have your Renogy system over here to be able to see what your power is doing. And it will show you your solar that's coming in. The cool thing about this is it's dynamic, it's constantly changing. So if you turn on a light, it's gonna increase your amperage out. And then you can turn it off. You can see what the charging, you can see how many days you have. So right now it's saying that we have 6 days and 17 hours in this current usage. Now the fridge is just turned on. You have your upper fridge here, and then you have your freezer down here as well. And these have locking mechanisms that hold it, but MDC goes beyond that, because if you are going on some rough terrain, you can then move this lever over and that completely locks this, and there's no way this fridge is ever going to open while you're off-roading. I don't think so anyways. I would feel good about saying that. Massive amounts of storage all the way along here. Important to always point out the lip that holds everything from just falling out. So when you open the cabinets, you don't want things flying out. Look at this little wiring harness. I like to point these things out to people. See how they cover that? They put a little MDC logo in there. It's just a little attention to detail, but I've noticed sometimes manufacturers, like, they'll just put the wire in there and they'll just cover it up with a piece of plastic, or, you know, or sometimes they don't even cover it because they're like, oh, it's in a cabinet, you're not gonna notice it. Those are nice little details. Coming over to here, we have our Furrion. This is a stove. This is a 3-burner stovetop, as well as an oven. So if you do want to cook some stuff in there, maybe Thanksgiving dinner, it's not a huge oven, so quite frankly, you're gonna have to find a small turkey, maybe cut it in half. And then of course we have storage all through here. Across here, we have an outlet that runs your microwave. MDC uses the Truma components. Most of the components on this trailer are the Truma. You have a Truma air conditioning unit. This is a 13,500 BTU air conditioner. You have a Truma furnace and a Truma water heater. And this is all integrated into here, which is really cool because you can run your water heater, your furnace, and your air conditioner all into this system. There's also a remote that you can use for the air conditioner. And then of course you have your tank gauges, and your total water capacity is 42 gallons of fresh water. You have 2 21-gallon tanks, and you have a front and rear. And that's nice, is because you can be able to run them together in tandem, or you can run them one at a time, so what you know when one goes out. And also you have the gauges there. Now moving into the rest of the kitchen, we have a massive amount of storage, drawers, and then we have our microwave as well as the sink, and that has a little spray nozzle that can move around. Windows do have a screen and also a nighttime or blackout shade, as well as dual pane polycarbonate windows, which are very strong and good for off-roading. So let's head on over to the bedroom area, and I'll show this off to you. Here we come back into the bed area. Now this is a queen size. It is a little bit shorter than a standard queen, but it is the right width of a standard queen. And this they do call a walk around, because I can walk over here and get in bed, and my significant other can walk around and get in bed on that side, and we're not crawling over each other. It's not an east-west, this is a north-south bed. Lots of storage throughout. This right here is a pretty deep storage compartment. I could probably fit most of my clothes in this storage compartment. It kind of goes and hides underneath there as well. And then of course, tons and tons of outlets that as I've been pointing out. Right here you have standard 120, you have your 12 volt, and then of course you have a wireless charger that you can just put your cell phone on there and it will charge at night. This storage is massive and it goes down really, really deep. Let me show you this pillow, as you can kind of get an idea. If I drop that down, it's pretty much right there. So you have a lot of depth. My wife uses these little traveling packs that you can buy for suitcases to kind of organize your stuff. And they're really cool. You can throw them down in there. And that just gives you the ability to organize, you know, you put your underwear, your socks or whatever, and you can keep it separated. And then of course you have that hanging area, and then you have your storage right here, his and hers on both sides. These fans are also very efficient. These are the Sorroco fans. They have 3 speeds. They also have timers so you can turn them on and turn them off. And those things use like less than an amp. Like they'll run forever and you'll never even notice a draw on the battery with those. And then of course we have our dome, and this has a light on it. And then of course you can black out, or you can open this up and get some air, ventilation, let the heat rise out of here. And then of course we have our reading lights, and these are also on a dimming mechanism, so you can go on and off, or you can dim it down if you want to stay up a little bit later and read and not disturb your spouse. That's what that's for. So let's head on outside and do a quick walk around on the outside as well. Okay, here we come outside. One thing that I want to point out that I love about these Australian trailers is they use this door. This is called an Aussie traveler door. The Trimark, and the reason why they call that is because it has 3 locking mechanisms. So when I push the handle forward, you'll see it engages 3 different spots. Most trailers in America just have 1 latch. Now, that normally is fine, but as you can think, if you're like going off-roading and you've got lots of camber, things can twist, and it's wild. Trailers actually can flex, and like the whole frame's kind of, not in general, but some trailers can. I've seen this, and doors will pop open. This right here, because it has 3 locking mechanisms, there's no way. Also, in addition to that, this is an aluminum screen and it covers the entire length of the door, and it is super strong. Like, there's no way your pet is going to jump through this screen. Once you close that up, shut it all the way. Lighting throughout the trailer, inside and out, is really, really good. We have lights here and here. Of course, this is right below the kitchen area. This light right here is controlled right here, and it has a white light, but it also has a amber or yellow orange light. This tends to not attract the bugs as much at night, and that's the reason why they use that. It also adds just a little bit more ambience. It's a nicer feel. As I mentioned, this light over here, these are controlled on the inside, and you have the white there. You also have a white back over here, and I'll show you what that's for. It just really takes everything into consideration on the trailer. And now I'm gonna turn these back to yellow, so you can see you can choose between white and yellow. And you might be like, well, why do you need a light over here? Because this is going to be a prep area. I'm going to show you the kitchen in a second, but you can put stuff here. There's an outlet right there. So if you wanted to, you know, bring out a TV, tailgate, hang outside, charge devices, you also have another mount right here for your television, and you can kind of have stuff here. This is also a great little storage area, and you have outlets, you have connections for TV, you have speakers that are controlled by the stereo inside. So this can become a really cool hangout area, tailgating area. Now, one of the cool things that comes included with every MDC is an Annex, and it pretty much expands the trailer, becomes twice the size, so you have additional living space, and it's all covered, protected out of the rain, out of the sun, and it integrates into the awning. You can see there's a track here. It goes all the way into this track, and then you see these little clips. These are buttons. So you have a skirting so you can keep the pets inside. When we were out camping in Moab last, we set this up and we had our little dog hanging out. It was kind of his little safety area, his nice zone, and you know he's out there and he's not gonna run away, which is very cool. And then of course you have all the lighting inside, so at night it lights up that area really nicely. Coming over here, I wanna point out a few things. Like, some of these things to me, they drive me crazy because I use the trailers, and this is the type of things that engineers don't always get when they're just designing a trailer. So this door comes integrated with a hook that allows you, see this little hook into the handle? This goes all the way back and it allows you to latch the door open. And most manufacturers will be like, there's your latch. there you go. You should be good, right? And that's where it ends with a manufacturer that doesn't use their trailers. But MDC, they put another latch right here. And you might be saying, well, why is there another latch? Because that's just as holding it halfway open. That makes no sense. It does. And if you don't use the trailer, you would never know. But if you latch it all the way back there, that's designed with the door, you can no longer open your window. And that's really annoying, right? So there's like little touches and details that you would never notice unless you actually use and own the trailer. But MDC, because they actually use the trailers, they own the trailers, they go out with customers and use them together, they point out those things and they come back and say, you know what, we have a solution for you. It's simple. It's a little detail, but those details just go throughout the entire trailer and your entire experience of owning this trailer. You'll notice those things. Stuff like this, where they put labels on everything so you know how to operate your stuff, is also another detail. So let's go through this. I'll show you the kitchen. These are one of my favorite things about MDCs. They do have some of the best kitchens. Push this up, brings out, there's your cutting board. This comes out right here. So you have a windshield and you're able to cook if it's windy. And then this comes right here and there's a little latch that opens this and allows this to drop down. And then that locks in place. And then you have like a dish rack, drying rack. You also have hot and cold water. This is integrated into the trailer, so you don't have to plug anything in. The only thing you plug in is the propane for the actual stove. And then of course you have some nice storage here for cutlery and other miscellaneous things with soft close. Very well built and very quality. It feels very solid. There is a leg post that I can install here. In the full tour, we can show you that. Now coming over here, this is a pass-through storage, and it allows you to access this on both sides. There's another door on the other side, but this also is a fridge tray. Right now we have a fridge on it, just as an example. Of course, you have your inside fridge and freezer. If you wanted to, you could get another fridge and freezer, one of these 12-volt refrigerators, and be able to utilize this, or this just can be your storage area, depending on what you want. But it is all plumbed and has power for a fridge. Now coming over here, we have this massive storage. This is a patent design MDC. It's kind of aerodynamic. This is good for turning. So when you're turning, they have this angled to give you more clearance. And this right here, you have your propane tanks up in the front, and they come included with the 20-pound propane tanks. And then you also have extra storage up here that you can use for various items. This is generally my firewood apartment. You could also put chairs in there. It's actually deep enough that you can fit some camping chairs. And then on this side, they have a jerry can holder. Jerry cans are extra water or fuel cans, and those are used a lot in Australia, not as much in the US, but when you're out in the outback, you actually can run out of fuel and water. Now coming up here, a few little things that are unique to MDC. You have an integrated handbrake. And so this actually, when you stop somewhere, you can pull this, and this is supposed to brake your tires. We still recommend chalking the wheels, but that's just an extra convenient. And then of course they run the Cruisemaster hitch, and this is a fully articulating hitch that goes side to side. This goes up and down, and this just allows for the trailer as you're going off-road. It allows more movement. This also should allow the trailer to tow better. If you've looked at equalizer hitches, some of them actually have that side-to-side movement. It allows for that movement in the hitch opposed to that jerking in the truck. Now coming over here, we have their safety chains. Just a nice little detail. They give you a spot to actually hang them up. Most trailers in America, this is what you do with your chains when you're done. You just chuck them on the tongue somewhere, right? To me, it's just like, it's not necessary, but it's nice that they just add that little detail, and it's not hanging all over your stuff. And these are like the most massive chains ever. This is another cool feature about MDC that comes included with the trailer, is they have a workout machine right here for you. If you're feeling like you wanna, you know, if you haven't noticed, I have been working out for the last 2 years, mostly because of these chains. They've allowed me to be more active. Not really, but I go to the gym. Coming around here, we got some more storage. This is the other side of that pass-through storage. Right now we have the Annex, all of that, the walls and the material for that Annex that I was talking about on the other side. If you're not gonna be staying somewhere for a while, I wouldn't put that up, and I just leave it at home so you have more storage. Of course, we have the Truma. Another thing is we have extra solar panels. I haven't talked a lot about the details of the power system, but there's actually 1,225 watts of solar on the roof, which is insane. That's a lot of solar. You can add an additional 600 watts with these plugins. Now, those solar panels that you plug in here, they do have to have a regulator. They're not regulated through the system. The ones on the roof obviously are. So just make sure you do that. You have the ability to have 1,825 watts of solar while you're out camping, which is pretty insane. That's a lot of solar. And then we have the Truma AquaGo. This is an on-demand water heater. What that means is there's not a tank. You turn on the faucet, it senses that there's pressure, and it engages and turns on and starts creating hot water. So that's pretty cool because you can take longer showers because you're not worried about running out of water on their tank. Of course, if you're off grid, you want to still try to conserve. Coming over here, this is your wet bay. This is where you're going to hook up water. You also have an outside shower, hot and cold. And then of course you have all your ports where you fill in your fresh water. You also have a city water inlet. Once again, more and more details I'll talk about later on in another full tour. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, because we're gonna release that full tour pretty soon. And you'll definitely wanna see that because I'm gonna go into tons of details and talk about the evolution of MDC and all the improvements that they've made in just the last couple of years since we've been working with them to show that truly they are very innovative. Once again, you have a light right here, because if you're at night trying to work onto this, it's really nice to have a light. Most manufacturers in the US do not put a light on the driver's side. It makes sense that you would have it. You also have a little track right here, and that is for an outside shower. And so if you're at the beach and you don't want to fill up your gray tank, you can set up your outside shower. The kiddos, the dog, whatever, you can spray them off out here, and you have a light so you can shower at night. There's also a light up here that I didn't point out earlier, and that allows you just to be able to see what you're getting out of your storage compartment. So it's pretty nice that they do all of those things. Coming over here, we have a cassette toilet, as I mentioned before. Very easy to utilize and use this system. You just pull this out, and then you can open this up, unscrew that, and you could just dump it out anywhere. You could dump it out on any pit toilet, any toilet. You can go to a dump station and dump it in there. And last or not least, it is also the approved carry-on size according to the TSA guidelines. So if you do want to take it with you, you can.
Whoever is farting, don't fart, please. It smells bad.
It will fit in the overhead bins on an airplane. So it's important. If you do want to take your crap wherever you go, you can. It's a multi-purpose toilet for you. Coming back over here, of course, we have our spare tire and our ladder to access the roof. You also have backup cameras. You have a light bar. These light bars actually come in handy. We were doing the teletrack as night approached, got pretty dark, and we couldn't see anything on the trail. These lights saved our butts. We've turned on all the lights on the trailer, and trust me, towing a trailer on a track in Australia that's designed for a vehicle is not fun. It's actually pretty complex. In the dark with no lights, it becomes extremely complex. You cannot do it because you don't see anything back there. I fired up all the lights and I could see everything. I could see the entire trail, and it really saved us. This is the MDC XT19. This is the Off-Grid Extreme version. 2027. If you want to see a full tour, stay tuned. That full tour will be coming out. If you have any questions about this trailer, if you want to learn about this trailer, give us a call. One of the things that ROA prides themselves in is that we're actually users of these trailers. And I would challenge you, give us a call and ask the guy that picks up the phone, have you ever even camped in one of these trailers? See what they say. I guarantee you can call most RV dealerships that sell trailers and ask that question, and they won't be able to say yes to that question. And if they do, I'd be shocked. But we actually go out, we use these trailers, we camp in these trailers, we do it with the actual manufacturer. That's pretty cool too. Like, we have such a good relationship with them that allows us to give them that feedback. And we go out camping with our customers, who we call roamers, and they also go camping with their customers as well in Australia. And that just allows for a much better experience for the end users, you. But hopefully you've enjoyed this. Like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to make comments down below. We'd love to show these trailers to you. We have these in our showrooms out in Arizona, Colorado, South Carolina, and Utah. Reach out to us and we'd love to answer any of the questions you have. Also, don't forget, go down below and click on that link and I'll give you a spec sheet. I didn't go over all the specs. I just wanted to show off the trailer. You can learn, do a deeper dive in the specs down below. So go click on that link, put your information in, and we'll send you over a brochure and tells you all the cool specs of this trailer, the lengths, the weights, and all that, battery capacities. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.